Today, we're going to be talking about the floating harbour that the Allies built along the coastline to support the D-Day invasion in Normandy. So hey, welcome to something slightly different right here in my little office at home. This is kind of a bonus video, I suppose, because on my recent trip to Normandy, I filmed a video about Mulberry Harbour. But about halfway through filming that video, I abandoned it because the weather was just horrendous. The wind was blowing me sideways and ruining the audio for the video, and I just decided it wasn't going to work. But by that stage, I'd filmed all of the B-roll of the actual bits of harbour that remain on the beach there, and I'd filmed some other bits as well. So I thought, you know what, I don't want to waste all that footage. I'm going to turn it into a bit of a video right here. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about the Mulberry Harbour, going to show you some really cool footage of it sat out there on the beach in Normandy, and just kind of share some clips that I took whilst I was out there in France. Something a little bit different, and then when I go back to Normandy next time, I probably will actually get out there on the beach and we'll do a more detailed video, kind of really exploring them in some detail. So listen, before we get into it, first of all, thank you to all you guys who've been engaging with the content that I've been making recently. Really been enjoying sharing some of my videos from Normandy and my videos from the Somme and my World War I stuff. Gonna keep that going. I've got trips to Verdun coming up soon. We've got trips to Salzburg and the Eagle's Nest and some really cool videos that we're going to be making right here for the channel. Thank you to all of you guys who bought some of the merch. If you like the look of something like this, in fact, I should say with this t-shirt, on the newer ones, the logo is actually a bit higher up. I felt it was too low on this kind of sort of spec one that I got, so the logo is higher up on the new ones. There's some other bits that you saw me wearing in my last video as well. I'll put some clips here so you can see what I'm talking about. If you're interested in some of the merch, I know the mugs have gone down well, a few hats have sold. Check those out. You can see them in the link underneath the video right here. I've also got to say a big thank you. We officially have a Patreon for this channel, and we've got our first person actually joined up to it a couple of months ago. Really, really grateful. Vlogging Through History have supported the channel. To be honest, a real honour that someone with a great channel like that sees value in what I do. So thank you very much, and if the rest of you guys are interested, go check that out as well. That is also linked in the description below. So look, let's get into talking about the Mulberry Harbour. So as the Allies were planning for the invasions in Normandy on D-Day, it became apparent very quick that in order for the invasion to be successful, they would need the ability to move a huge amount of vehicles and supplies inland. In order to do that and really establish a foothold in Normandy, they would need a place to be able to bring these supplies in. The problem was that where the invasion was planned, the ports in that area were still held by the Germans. In order to be able to capture those ports, the Allies really needed to establish that foothold in Normandy. In order to establish the foothold, they needed the vehicles and supplies, and they couldn't get those in without the ports. And so they were in a real problem. So there was a plan to build a temporary harbour, a floating harbour, and in fact two of those, that they could use to bring in vehicles and supplies. So in 1943, the plan was established to build these two temporary floating harbours. One to go at Omaha Beach for the Americans to use, and the other one to go at Gold Beach for the British and Canadians to use, both of which they could use to bring in supplies and vehicles. The one at Gold Beach was going to be nicknamed Port Winston. So the plan was hatched to build individual kind of units, individual pieces of this harbour in England, and then tow them across to France and put them all together to create this big floating harbour. Now, the actual individual pieces are nicknamed phoenixes, and there's a really cool reason for that. The Allies knew that if they started to build a big floating harbour along the coastline of England, the German reconnaissance would see that pretty easily and they would know exactly what was going on. So instead, these units were designed in such a way that after they were built, they could be temporarily sunk and then refloated in time to tow them across to France. Refloated like resurrected, and hence where the nickname Phoenix comes from. So after the Allies had landed in Normandy and established that little beachhead area there, they took these parts from all around the coast of England, towed them across to France, connected them together and built these two harbours, one at Omaha Beach and one at Gold Beach, just by Arromanche. Now, the really cool thing about the harbour that was built at Gold Beach at Arromanche is that you can still see the remains of it sat right there on the beach and out to sea. Now, it's a really cool place to go. If ever you're in Normandy, I really recommend including this into your trip. You can walk on the beach and you can walk right next to these things. You have to be careful when you time it, because as the tide comes in and out, you can get a bit wet if you're out there. So make sure you go when the tide's out and you can really explore them and see. I've got footage of them coming into the video right here anyway, but you can really see these units there, especially the ones on the beach that are still sat there kind of lined up, and you can see how they would have connected together and how the vehicles and the supplies could have been brought in from quite far out to sea. The problem was in Normandy is, of course, where the water went out and the bigger ships were carrying the supplies, they couldn't get in close enough to the beach, and so they had to be stopped further out to sea, and the harbour needed to reach all the way out there. Now, when you're there and exploring these, you can really get a good look around them. Of course, they've been there a long time now, so they've got some damage, they've got holes, but actually that's quite cool as well, because it enables you to look inside them and see kind of how they were put together. Really fascinating spot to go and have a look at in Normandy. Now, the Mulberry Harbours were going to be used until a French port could be captured following D-Day. It wasn't actually until 6 months after D-Day that the port of Antwerp was captured, so these harbours became vital to get the supplies and vehicles inland. Now, unfortunately, the harbour at Omaha Beach was damaged in storms in late June 1944, but the one at Arromanche at Gold Beach was used nearly to full capacity for about 10 months after the invasion, so you can really see how essential this harbour had been. More than 2.5 million men, 500,000 vehicles, and over 4 million tonnes of supplies were brought in from that harbour. So there we have the story of the floating harbours that were used to support the Normandy and D-Day invasion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, something a little bit different, talking about it here. We're going to have a video coming up in the not so distant future, hopefully, actually out there on the beach, where I'm filming the content there rather than being sat here. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favour, hit the like button and subscribe. Do that all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my other social media channels, and I will see you guys on the next video. See you on the next one.